Quirky, extremely ambitious, and I'd say a bit overconfident. um, Man, that's a tough one, eh? I don't know, man. I'm a lot of things. When it comes to my work, I'm someone who's super driven. I like getting shit done. I like creating magic. I like seeing people happy from my creations. That's purely from what I do. In regards to who I am, I'm a lot of things, man. I'm someone who enjoys watching Formula One. I'm someone who enjoys reading books. I'm someone who enjoys, seeking the truth about the meaning of life and why we are in the universe and who we truly are as humans.
Entrepreneurs.
Nah, man. Weirdly enough, both my parents studied, I think, education in campus. So my mom is a lecturer at Mount Kenya University and Kisii University. My dad also, I'd say, he also went down the path of seeking employment. So you can imagine being a son of parents who want the employment path. For me, it's always been about the challenges in the world. Being someone who's grown up in Africa, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Africa, man, has a lot of problems. Tuko na mashida kila mahali. We don't have, sufficient housing. There are people sleeping hungry all over. Guys don't have clothes. Hata hatuwezi anza hata kuongelea stuff ya sijui internet coverage, na kuna watu Turkana bana wamelala njaa jana. So I think noticing the number of challenges we have in Africa and realizing that there are not enough smart people who are willing to tackle these challenges, either because they think the challenges are extremely hard to solve. Uniambie kitu kama just building basic infrastructure, building hospitals, building roads. Very smart people don't want to go down that path. You're building infrastructure because number one, it's gonna be extremely expensive. Number two, it's more or less an impossible undertaking. So just noticing hizi mashida zote and realizing that not enough people are willing to solve them was a very big driving force for me. Junilikaa chini nikaona, man, if I don't do something about this, then nothing is gonna change. Nisipotoa watu wa kijiji yangu kwa hizo mashida zao, hakuna mse atawatoa. So mostly, man, for me, it's just making people's lives better. Selling experiences. And how I think about selling experiences, I think using companies like Amazon and Alibaba and Jumia would be a really great example. These companies essentially sell physical commodities. You can buy clothes, you can buy shoes, you can buy, televisions, fridges, microwaves, books, all this. And the one thing that you notice, if you really sit down and deeply think about physical commodities, the reason people buy physical commodities is because they think that in some way, something physical will make the quality of your life better. So ndio unaonanga ukinunua a pair of shoes, utafurahi. Ama ukinunua, ile nguo yenye umekuwa uki-eye for the past 6 months, it's gonna bring some form of meaning to your life. Na hii ni kitu yenye, there's really no end to buying physical commodities. Juu nikinunua size simu, iPhone wamelaunch iPhone 13 ama sijui ni iPhone gani, nikinunua hiyo iPhone 13 saizi, next year watoe iPhone 14, trust me, I'm still going to want that iPhone 14 because there's this inherent desire within me yenye sitosheki na commodities. But if you look at experiences, on the other hand, what you're selling from experiences is just the emotion. You're selling happiness, right? And experiences ni kitu, having a unique experience ni kitu yenye it's very hard for you to replicate. Let's say, for instance, the first time you fell in love. You remember that moment? The very first time you fell in love, or the very first, your first job. ama the very first day salary iliingia kwa bank account yako. You cannot replace these experiences with anything in the world because they only happen to you once. So for us, how we are trying to sell HostGuest experiences, it's in the same manner na hizi experiences zina happen to you once in a while. The day you were born, the day you fell in love, your first heartbreak venye ilikuumiza, the day you got married, the day you had your first child. These are very unique experiences that happen to people once in a lifetime. So what you wanted to do is package these once in a lifetime experiences, package them as an economic offering. Unaambia msee, we are selling this super unique experience, and HostGuest is the platform for you to get this experience. Now, instead of you going to buy your 10th pair of shoe on Amazon, or your 15th watch on Jumia, why don't you buy this super unique experience that's not available anywhere else in the world? Why don't you bring happiness into your life by doing something yenye, iko way more meaningful than kununua physical commodity? So for me, that was the idea behind HostGuest. Packaging experiences and creating more meaning in people's lives. Jumanze, mnafaa kuchoka bana kununua physical things bana. Hadi sangapi? We are preaching minimalism. Less things, more meaningful experiences, more happiness. I think the beauty of experiences is understanding that experiences are best shared online. If you look at a lot of people who are on Instagram and TikTok, they mostly share the experiences. Maybe I'm having dinner with my family. I want this moment, captured on camera. Then I'm going to share it on Instagram. I'm going to share it on TikTok, on Snapchat, whatever. So the thing about experiences, and I think this is the difference between experiences and physical commodities. It's very rare for me to buy a pair of shoes. I take a photo, I post it on people on Instagram. What I'd rather do, maybe I go on vacation with, let's say, my girlfriend, to a very beautiful destination. Man, for me, I'd want all my friends to know that I've gone, on this once in a lifetime vacation mahali. So I think it's not a bad thing that people, are glued on their phones. It's actually good to capture those, meaningful moments that we have in our lives. So I think for me it's about the intimacy. Yeah? If you take me to a group of maybe 30, 40 people, you really can't expect me to talk as much. Because these are strangers, man. I don't know no one here nafaa kusema nini. Lakini on the flip side, if it's only one person or two people, it forces you to talk because hamwezi kuwa watu wawili ama watatu alafu mmenyamazia. It's very hard for two people to be in a room peke yenu doing the same thing alafu mmenyamaziana. So that's the beauty of experiences. HostGuest experiences are meant to be intimate. They're meant to be very private. That's why we have a limit to the number of people who can book an experience. The maximum for us is 10 people. That way, if let's say you are hosting an experience on our platform, you only have 2 guests, you'll just be forced to talk to them. So I'd say the beauty of attending a HostGuest experience, it forces you out of your comfort zone. Even if you're an introvert, you're someone who doesn't like talking in front of an audience, if you're around one person or 2 people, definitely mtapata kitu ya kuongelelea. There's always going to be that one conversational whatever point yenye you guys share. All right, so hosts, for those who don't know who hosts are, these are people who have maybe a unique talent, a unique passion, or a very unique skill that they want to share. So for us, I'd say just the uniqueness. If you have something really unique that you think is not available anywhere else, weird things, quirky things, maybe a skill, a hard skill that a lot of people don't have, and you want to showcase it to the world, then I think for us, we're down to working with you. Just have something unique. I think of all CEOs, I have the weirdest of working days because for me, I don't have like an 8 to 5 job. For me, I work. I'd say until I get tired. So maybe I'll wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. My morning routine is pretty basic. Have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and then jump on my laptop for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Then take a short break. I don't know, read a book, read a blog post, whatever. Then go back to work. Do that until maybe 4 p.m. I never have lunch. I rarely have lunch. Do that until 4 p.m. 4 p.m. maybe hang out with friends for like an hour or two. And then from maybe 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. again, I'm working. Well, actually 6 p.m. till like 11 p.m. Yeah, I'm working. Then at 11 p.m. I have this culture where I watch a movie every single day, at least to, just calm my mind. And, for me, that's what I mostly do when I want to get my mind off of work. Yeah, so watch a movie for maybe 20 minutes. Because I usually fall asleep. I've never watched a movie to completion on the first sitting. So watch a movie for 20 minutes, alafu kesho yake tena watch the other 20, kesho yake tena watch the other 20. Nitaimaliza after maybe 5 days. Yeah, so every single day, that's roughly how my day looks like. Hey man, there are a lot of people out here who are doing pretty cool things, man. The guys who are building rockets, the guys who are building self-driving cars, man, the guys who are building smart cities. Man, I look at all these people who are trying to move humanity forward. And for me, it's always about advancing humanity. It's always about making people's lives better. So, number one, I already mentioned this, mashida tu tuko nazo. Mi mashida tuko nazo Afrika manzizi nafanya tu niamke asubuhi. Fired up the bar, sana junonanga, hakuna mabarabara, ni kazi yangu kujenga hizi vitu. Hakuna trains, ni kazi yangu. Hakuna rockets, ni kazi yangu. So for me, that's the first thing. Alafu number two, just all the amazing people out there. There are countless of, kuna Elon Musk, kuna George Hotz, kuna Bezos. As in, there are countless of people out there, and there are lesser known entrepreneurs wenye hatujui, who are doing really, really amazing work in regards to pushing humanity forward. And I think for me, the one thing that a lot of people should get right about entrepreneurship is never about making money. That's just a happy outcome of being an entrepreneur. But the real reason people become entrepreneurs is because you've noticed a problem that you're super passionate about, and you unaona manze hii shida lazima tuisolve bana, and you just do it. And a lot of people actually entrepreneurs, they just don't realize it. Mama mboga mwenye anauzia mboga hapo alinotice amwezi pika sukuma yenu bila nyanya bana, akasema acha niwauzie nyanya. Yeye kwake manzi anaonanga bila yeye akikosa kupatia nyanya, maisha yako itakuwa mbaya excess. So for me, man, it's just helping humanity advance, helping push the human race forward.
Any more locally and more in our third world continent, people who have done so much that you
Well, the guys, I wouldn't say they have done, because they're still doing it, or else they'll all be multi-billionaires by now. But they're guys in the edtech space. The founder of Nilab, that guy is cool as fuck. The guys in the health space, Wasewa Ponea Health. I think those guys are really doing amazing work. Kuna wase in agri-tech, there are guys in clean energy. There are even a bunch of guys who are building electric cars and electric bikes in Kenya, which is really cool. So I wouldn't say we have like big names in Africa yet, because most of them are also guys who just started off maybe 2-3 years ago. But hopefully as the years advance, watanijoin huko juu kwa the table of, the big people, the table of billionaires. I hope to see all of them there soon. Seeking the truth, man. For me, my life has always been about seeking the truth. And truth for me just comes down to, understanding who I am as a human. Do I have a soul? Why am I on this planet? What is my purpose? If at all there is such a thing as having a purpose. The kinds of connections and relationships I make, are they helping me move towards a grander reality? So for me, I'd say, man, if I usually say if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I'd probably be a monk somewhere in the Himalayas, because seeking the truth and knowing who we truly are is the sole important reason for our existence. And I think, once I'm done with this entrepreneurship thing, because I know it's probably going to be a phase for me when I'm 50, 60, God willing, if I'm going to live that long, there's a very high probability that I'm gonna leave everything behind and just go to India, and and just sit in a cave and just try and figure out why the fuck am I here, man. Yeah, and a lot of people who know me know that I'm a very talkative guy, so that's gonna be hard. Tutajaribu lakini. Man, I think this all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Thinking from, you should never start a business, or you should never do anything from the perspective of this is a great idea, so let me pursue it, or let me not pursue it. I think you should be thinking from the perspective of a problem. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to end world hunger, right? That's the underlying problem that you're trying to solve. There are multiples of ideas that you can use to solve that problem. You can decide and start manufacturing synthetic food. You can decide to buy acres and acres of land and do your own agriculture, and then sell the food at subsidized prices. You can decide, and what else can you do? Synthetic that word. Well, these are all great ideas to solving one problem. So I think thinking from a problem's perspective will help you not give up. Juu unajua kama mimi ninajua shida yangu hapa ni a lot of people are buying physical commodities thinking that that's going to give them happiness. I want that to stop, at least ipungue. I want them to buy more meaningful experiences. So the problem is, experiences versus commodities, creating more meaning to people's lives. So there are a ton of ways ninaweza go about, solving that problem. I can start a company like HostGuest. I can decide and, again, be a monk and be a spiritual teacher and tell guys that, focus more on meaningful relationships and meaningful experiences. I can decide and be a pastor. There are really a ton of ways to go about solving that problem. But, at the end of the day, mimi nitakuwa nafikiria from the problem point of view. Yes, just deciding to be an entrepreneur, man. That takes a lot of courage. Well, it depends on the kind of person you are. So I think there are two groups of people. The group of people that treat problems as stressful occurrences, and the group of people that treat problems like a source of motivation. So for me, most of my problems are sources of motivation. So I rarely think I'm ever unhappy running the startup. I'm never unhappy running the company. No matter how many problems you have. Shida ikikuanga manze, now that's my job sasa. That's the reason I became an entrepreneur, to solve the problem. So nikiamka asubuhi bana na there are 1,000 fires burning, for me I know it's going to be a good day, because it's going to be me crushing it. It's going to be me, just showcasing why I do what I do. So stress inakwanga motivation, man. Hey man, it's just mostly reading. For me, man, it's books. Anytime I'm not working or watching my 20-minute movie, mi husoma can nonsense. So it's mostly books, listening to lectures, podcasts, maybe talking to people who know things that I don't know about. Because the one thing I've come to notice about life, people always have something to teach you. haijalishi huyo msee ni nani, hadi janitor. Mi kuna my first ever job, there's a certain janitor, he was an old man, he was like 50-60 years old. Huyu msee alinichapa life advice ingine bana yenye sijaiambiwa hata na lecturers wangu kampo. Huyu msee alikuwa muwise sana. So I think, just being someone who's able to acquire a lot of information, doesn't matter how you acquire that information, just unafaa kuwa beast wa kusoma bana. So for me, naweza sema how I grow is just acquiring information. So it's funny you should mention this. At HostGuest, we have a couple of values, and our top value, our number one value inakwanga the customer is king. Hii stuff to my team, I think hii stuff nimewaimbia mara kadhaa. Mimi hata sijui nimewaimbia mara ngapi. But naambianga the customer is king, because the one thing that you should realize, as a business person and as an employee, as a team member, as an entrepreneur, is that it's your customer who's gonna pay your bills. Atalipa mshahara yako, atalipa bills zako. As in, literally, you're the only reason una exist. So as long as you make these people happy, then you're gonna stay in business. You're gonna have your salaries, and depending on how happy you make them. Ukimfurahisha sana, umsa anaweza kulipa $10 million a month. Ukimkasirisha, umsa atakulipa $1 bob. So man, just making the customer happy, and you can do this through a myriad of ways. Unaweza fanya wapigie simu hadi saa 6 usiku, mtu akikupigia wewe shika simu, manze muulize shida ni gani, unataka nikusaidiaje. Akikwambia hii price iko nyingi kiasi, wewe mwambie baba relax, nitakupunguzia juu ni wewe ndio wa kusema. Akikwambia by the way, mimi naona kuna stuff fulani hapa ijanibamba, mwambie wewe sawa, nitaifix. Then because everyone just needs to understand that it's the customer that pays the bills. The sole reason of a business existence is to relish the customer. The reason you sell your products or your goods or your services is because you want to please the customer, make their life a bit easier. So ukiamka asubuhi, man, just have that one thing ringing in your head. The customer is king. The customer is king. That's what I do, man. The customer is king. The customer is king. For me, I'd say it's balancing business and my personal life. For starters, there's no such thing as work-life balance. You can never achieve work-life balance where it's 50% work, 50% personal life.
Taken up experience sharing, which means you can hang out with a lot of your friends during work.
Well, what I'd say is you can achieve work-life harmony. You can have a really meaningful work relationship, and you can have really meaningful personal relationships. But because for me, work takes up close to 95% of my life. My personal life, spending time with my girlfriend, maybe my friends or whatever, takes up 5%. But I've found a way to be in harmony with that. So that, when I'm spending time with, let's say, my friends or my family, I'm giving them all my attention. I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm not going to be on my laptop. If I'm watching a movie with my girlfriend, it's watching a movie with my girlfriend only. So, being able to harmonize my work and my personal relationships, that's something that I've really had to learn over the years. Jumi kitambo bana ilikuwa work peke yake bana. Ilikuwa niamke kutoka 6 am ama 5 am hadi midnight. Mimi nisumbue na sijui tupatane, sijui twende tu hang out. Nakwambia kufanya nini bana. And it really causes you to be very unhappy. You don't realize, you don't have any reason to live. Zi bana. Hizi vitu ni trial and error bana. Man, the worst mistake I think I ever did is reading books and then trying to create a magic formula from the books I've read. That, I'm going to start a business, then the next step is going to be this, the next step is going to be this.
Especially seeing as, I know what this one did wrong.
Yeah. Hiyo stuff ni kujidanganya, because entrepreneurship is not, a lot of people think entrepreneurship ni journey yenye unaanzia from low, from zero, alafu ni a steady climb up to maybe $1 billion or $10 billion. Many hiyo shit inakwanga hivi, unafika hapo unapata thao, inarudi unapata 10 bob. Unapanda kiasi unapata 100k, unarudi tena unapata 0 bob. Inakwanga a lot of zigzags. And I think if you're someone who's very keen with experimenting, figuring out the things that work for you, because entrepreneurship is also highly dependent on your personality. If you're outgoing, there's some things that will work for you. If you're someone who's more introverted, and there are a lot of introverted, entrepreneurs who are extremely successful, discovering what works for you. So unafaa tu experiment uone what works, what doesn't. And the thing about experimenting ni, hey manze, you will fail a lot of times. Uta fail mara nyingi sana, lakini man, it's part of the fun. I think you have to grow into it. And one of the most amazing stories I usually like, one of the most successful entrepreneurs of our era was Zuckerberg. This guy was a 19-year-old kid in college, but umse hakuwa na any MBA skill, hakuwa na, he didn't know how to manage people. He had, anger issues. He was very irrational. In the very early days, if you've watched the movie, The Social Network, is that the name of the movie? I think so. If you've watched the movie, although it's a bit imechoshwa kiasi, but I think it's as close to reality as, how the early days of Facebook were. Na ukiangalia how this guy was running the company, man, it was really shitty. Na hadi yeye mwenyewe anasemanga, he had to grow into the role of being an entrepreneur, the role of being a CEO, learning how to manage your team, learning how to set goals properly, nini. Hizi ni vitu zenye tu you have to be very willing to grow into and very willing to learn. Juwezi, manzi hakuna mtu yanamkanga kaa uko na PhD ya business administration. Hizi vitu unaanzanga tu kulearn pole bana. Me, I do a lot of fuck ups, I have a lot of fuck ups. Lakini the good thing is hiyo fuck up haitaijirudia juu mimi najuanga last time manze nilifanya hivi, it can't repeat itself. And in time 10-15 years moving forward, utapata I'm one of the dopest CEOs in the world. For me, unfortunately, I'm a very impatient person. For me, man, I don't like fuck ups. If you fuck up, man, you're just proving to me that you're not smart enough to be working at HostGuest. Well, it's okay to fuck up and quickly learn from it, but it's not okay for you to fuck up consistently. Because I usually give my team some chances. You fuck up, then we talk. Of course, it's gonna be harsh kidogo because I'm usually harsh. But then I'd expect once you figure out that you fucked up, the next time you're gonna be crushing it. So naweza sema my patience goes as far as maybe 3 or 4 fuck ups, but past there, man, for me it's enda tu place ingine bana penye watavumilia hizo fuck ups. Mimi sidhani naweza. Yeah, so it's I'd say it's for me, I consider it as a good thing because I'm constantly pushing people to become better at what they do. Juu mi manze nataka watu wangu bana wakue the world's best. If you are someone who's an engineer, man, I want you to be the fucking best engineer in the world bana. Mbona kuna wase Facebook wanakushinda engineering mbona? Zi bana. You need to be the fucking best, man. Yeah. I'd actually say that, man. I'd actually say a lot of people think they need capital in order to start a business, and that's BS vibaya sana, man. That's just a whole lot of bullshit. There are only 2 things that you need in order to be an entrepreneur. Number 1 is a very big problem, and number 2 is an idea on how to solve the problem. So let me just walk you through a case scenario. There's a problem. Tuseme nini? Mimi mama mboga notice that hakuna manyanya na mavitungu around a certain neighborhood. That's a problem that I've noticed. So I have an idea. I want to open a very small grocery shop. Of course, I do not have the resources, but I have the idea and I know how to articulate the idea. what I would have done kama ningekuwa mama mboga, naenda kwa suppliers. Supplier naomba cheki bedhe mimi sina do ya kununua hizi vitu zako ka stock, lakini ninaishi kwa kijiji fulani hapo, na kwa hiyo kijiji yote nikifungua grocery store, aisee mimi nitakuwa mtu solo mwenye anauza mboga hiyo place. Anambia so kitu tutafanya manze, nipatie tu stock ya wiki 2 tu, stock ya wiki 2. Hiyo stock ataende nijaribu kuuza. Alafu hiyo stock nitakupatia na return ya maybe 20-30% on top. Naenda nachukua hiyo stock, grocery store ni hata si grocery store tu, ni mamitimiti hapo tu, naambia rafiki yangu hapo anitengenezee. Naeka nyanya, naeka vitunguu bana, nauza. And if the problem is large enough, there's a very high probability that guys are going to come buy from you. If it's a really huge problem yenye inaumiza watu wengi, watanunua kwako. So I think, again, think from the problem perspective. Look for a really huge problem. Alafu hiyo shida tu kwa na idea ya kuisolve. Haihitaji capital manze. Mwache kujisumbua hapa kusaka sijui ya million bob kuanzisha biashara bana. Ya nini? Ya nini? Success is a very elusive. It's a very elusive thing, because personally for me, I never think I'm gonna be content, because there's no limit for me. I make $1 million, I'm gonna want to make 10. I make 10, I'm gonna want to make 100. I make 100, I'm gonna want to make $1 billion. So money for me isn't really a good. it's not a good way to track how successful I'm gonna be. Because man, I'm one greedy motherfucker, and as an entrepreneur you need to be very greedy. Ukifika point umetosheka basi we usiingie entrepreneurship. So I'd say getting to a point where I'm comfortably seeking the truth about life. I'm comfortably finding out more and more about who I am. Just again, figuring out my life purpose, figuring out my destiny. Ikifika point nimejua sasa Logan, this is why you're on this planet. Mimi nimetosheka bana. Even if I'll have $10 in my account at that point, I think itakuwa sawa. Character development. Nyinyi mnadhani Nairobi kudate inawapea character development? Jaribu kuwa entrepreneur 1 week bana. Hey. Character development utachapwa my friend. Because number one, you learn a lot of things about yourself. What makes you tick, the things that you don't like. You learn a lot about people. Just interacting with different kinds of people. Alafu pia the thick skin. Jatambo nilikuwa na watch talks za wase wanasema entrepreneurship imenipatia thick skin bana, mimi experience first hand bana. Hii stuff bana inakunyorosha. Acha na heartbreak ni kitu nzuri sana. Entrepreneurship ay. I say hiyo ni soul break. Heartbreak ni nzuri compared to entrepreneurship. Heartbreak ni a breeze, a walk down the park. Maybe I analyzed my first startup. My first startup was called Cribnet. It was still a tech company. Hey man, I think we were 18. We were 18 back then. We were extremely dumb. We didn't know nothing about running a business. But mimi hata sikuwa najua bwana biashara mtu unafaa kwenda kutafuta sijui registration certificate. Unafaa kwenda gavo uambie nataka kuanzisha biashara. So we were extremely naive. I didn't know how to talk to people. I was very shy. I didn't know how to hire. I didn't know how to convince people to join the vision and help build something. I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know how to market the business. But I think I was just extremely naive. But the beauty of that is, from the first failure, it now becomes extremely easy for you to know the things that you should and shouldn't do when you attempt to do it again. Just from the very first company that I had, vitu zote zenye nilifanya vibaya. I think saizi, just looking at how I'm running HostGuest and how I'm managing the day to day, I'd say it's significantly better. There's more structure, there's more organization, there are better strategies in place. I have an amazing team that is backing the vision, and that just puts us closer to success. So the first go, and this is probably, there are going to be some Zuckerbergs out there who are going to be lucky on their first attempt, but in most cases, I'd say 7 out of 10 times, you're going to need to have a couple of failures. The founder of Uber, Travis Kalanick, before he founded Uber, he had another company. I think it was StumbleUpon or something, and it failed gloriously. But a lot of people don't know about that. Wanaonanga, founder wa Uber bana, mseni billionaire bana, alibatika. They don't know about all the things that he did before he founded Uber. And unaweza pata the lessons that he learned from his first startup were very crucial in regards to how he ran, his second company, Uber sasa. Na kama hangeanzisha the first company, probably hizi fuck ups zote angezifanya Uber, and Uber wouldn't be what we know right now. And that's very true for a lot of entrepreneurs, man. I think it's a lot of people usually overlook the failures and how important they are in someone's life. Unafaa kuwa mse wa kuembrace failure. Hii si cliche by the way. Kuwa mtu wa kuembrace failure bana. It's a universal fact. Embrace failure. Let me tell you, the thing about HostGuest, for those of us, for those of you who know, who've seen us on the interwebs or maybe physically in town or whatever, man, we feel like there are not enough people who are doing crazy things. There are not enough people who are pursuing crazy ideas. A crazy idea can just be something as simple as how you position your product, or how you do your marketing, or how you communicate with your users. So for us, man, we're all about doing the extremes. To notice, there's a company that's doing very basic marketing. For us, tunajaribu kuona how do we take that and just tune it all the way to the end. Tunaitoa kutoka zero tunaipeleka so hapo ndio idea company mascot ilitoka, man. I don't know whether there are companies in Kenya doing company mascots. Highly doubt it. And if they are, they're not doing it as well as we are. Yeah, but it's just because it's a fun thing to do, and why not? It's a fucking mascot. It's amazing, man. As in, why not?